I get a lot of questions each week on how to customize a saddle to fit various horses. The saddle, as it comes, will comfortably fit most horses, but not everybody has most horses. So occasionally we need to consider things like a narrower horse, higher withers, things of that nature. It is cut back so that you can fit the withers in there comfortably, and of course there's quite a substantial clearance between the pads and the horse. This pad has been moved, but normally they're all at the same place. Alright, well let's just assume they're both in the same place. There's something I often tell people about, and we call it crunching the saddle. Not really another term for it, so we're making it up here as we go, but this is to explain how the saddle holds its shape and how you can shape it for a narrow horse. Everything in it's flexible. So to crunch it for a narrow horse, we'll start by putting it on its side, putting our knee where our thigh would be, and pressing downward, and you hear it crunching. Okay? At this point, your saddle is much narrower. Also good if you have sore hips, and you want to bring your saddle up so you have more of what we call a twist. Basically, what a twist means is simply that there's more of a V between your thighs, which makes it so you don't have to spread your thighs quite so wide. It doesn't give you the discomfort riding. This is the second way that this saddle can be adjusted to fit various horses. These pads are movable. The closer your pads are together, I hadn't done this one yet, so this is attached. The closer your pads are together, the narrower your horse would be. For instance, a very narrow horse, you'd want to have the front of the pads on this first line right here. A wide horse, you'd want to have the pad down wider. So if we have, say, a narrow horse, I'm going to line it up right here. So the front of the pad comes right to the edge there. And you can take your time and readjust. Many times it's not like this is written in stone. And then I'm going to bring the back to that marker right there and press. That gives you a nice narrow horse edge, and we already crunched the saddle. Do it again after we do that just to make sure. And that shape will be held until you put it onto a larger, flatter horse. When you put it on a larger, flatter horse, you'll hear it crunch again, and at that point you're probably going to have to readjust. But for the seconds it takes to readjust, it's really not that difficult. This is Velcro, and this is the loop. Or this is the loop and this is the Velcro part, the hooks. And this part easily reattaches. Now, some horses can be shaped differently than others. We have some that have extremely wide shoulders. And you tend to feel like you're always going uphill or downhill. Okay. In the case of an uphill horse, where you're feeling like you're uphill all the time, we'll take the bottom part and we'll move it to the wider side. Okay? That will give your seat a lower seat in the back, higher in the front. It's comfortable on a lot of horses. A lot of riders prefer that. In the case where you feel like your horse is always leading you downhill, like you're always pulling back against the channel, then you can move the front wider apart and the back closer together. There's a lot of adjustments you can make. If you don't feel comfortable with it, work with somebody that knows what they're doing as far as saddle stuffing and fitting to different horses. But you will soon hear, most likely from an instructor or a friend, hey, you're downhill, hey, you're uphill, and you can play with it yourself. It only takes moments to change.